still chasing fire through the years half slow. Weights on my back, sweat in my eyes. Old man's fight never says die. Old man on the mat, still standing tall. One more round, yeah, I've heard it all. Grip the edge, don't let it slip. Strength in the soul, strength in the grip.
Hey, Old Man on the Mat crew, this is Tony Jones coming at you with another great episode of Old Man on the Mat. You know, guys, I was talking to this guy here to my left, your right, and I was just thinking, man, I've done some things in my life. I feel pretty good about it, but after reading his resume and credentials and everything, I'm just going to sit in the corner and be quiet for a while and let the big dogs talk. But guys, this guy has done some of the great things out there. He's the co-owner and head coach at GMB Fitness. The guy has done FBI hostage rescue training. You know, one thing that I really enjoy about what he's doing, I love the title of it, and he does with his project, On the Mat Forever. And that's, I love that because it's so cool. It's keeping us old guys, the mindset of keeping us old guys out there is trying to stay alive. He's also earned 4 black belts, one in judo, kendo, aido, and shorinji Kempo. In other words, he's a badass with a great attitude. But guys, with that, I'm gonna give you Ryan Hurst. How you doing, Ryan?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'll just let you just talk me up. Keep going.
Hey, brother,
I'm
I can
just
put this
playing.
on the
I'm
screen
just
and sit
playing. I'm
down,
just playing.
and everybody can read all this about you. They'll be excited, man. But looking at some of this stuff, man, this is amazing. You lived, you know, I'm gonna get ahead of myself here, but I'm just geeked right now. So you've lived in Japan for 30 years out there, almost 30 years, and what made you go
That's
to
right.
Japan?
Yeah, well, when I was in junior high, I started martial arts, and I was really lucky. My martial arts instructor, well, first off, Wichita, Kansas. And so this is where I grew up.
Gotcha.
And there really wasn't a lot of stuff back then in terms of martial arts that was going on. You know, we had, I think it was like there was a karate place. I remember that there was a taekwondo place in Kung Fu, Grace Kung Fu. And then actually there was Aikido.
Okay, yeah.
And again, there wasn't a whole lot to choose from. I don't know what it was, but ended up just going into this Aikido place. And again, I was like 12. I think I was 12 years old. The instructor just clicked. The instructor had actually spent over 20 years living in Japan, and he worked for Nippon Steel. Absolutely fluent in Japanese, very high level with Aikido, and just a neat guy. And we just clicked. And so this is kind of the theme in my life, is that I've just had these really great opportunities to work with great coaches and teachers and eventually mentors. And he was one of them. I just stuck with that. And he was like, you know what? You have this thing for language and moving well. You should go to Japan. And I was like, oh, okay. And I ended up just sticking with that. And I went on an exchange program in Japan. And the exchange program is when I actually started to do kendo. And my kendo instructor just took a liking to me. You know, I just put in the work. I did the stuff. I wasn't trying to be like, well, I'm an American. Why aren't you guys doing this sort of thing?
Yeah.
I just was just shut up and I just did the work. So I was only supposed to be over there as an exchange student for a very long time, or a very short time. My instructor was like, hey, how about you stick around? You live with me, train with me, et cetera, et cetera. I ended up staying, ended up living with his family. It was great. And so I got to train with the police as well as the Japan Self-Defense Force there in
Holy
Kendo. They beat the
cow.
crap out of me because
What?
it's different. The Kendo is a little bit different because you had like the throws and other stuff that was in there. And I also did judo at that time as well. And so I just absolutely loved it. I was in Japan, ended up graduating, and then moving over there permanently. And so during that time, I ended up getting a job inside of a shrine.
Oh,
So inside of the shrine, actually, there was a martial arts complex, and I was hired to go in there and help with the translation and interpretation. And so it was really cool. I got to work with some incredible instructors. The head of Daito Ryu Aikido Jiu-Jitsu at the time, Kawabe Sensei, he's still pretty much the guy in charge in that realm there in Osaka. Actually ended up doing a little English class there, and we had all these top instructors, Shorinji Kempo instructor, Kendo, Judo, like all these guys. And it was hilarious because after practice, they would beat the crap out of me and we all go drinking. That's how it is in Japan,
Oh man.
And so I like to say I have multiple black belts, in different arts, but I got like pretty high black belt in drinking at that time.
Master
It's
level.
pretty
There
sad
you
to
go.
say that. Yeah. But it was amazing. And what it was really was, I think, try to teach this to my kids. It's just be a sponge and absorb as much as you can. Um, and just understand that no matter how much you think there's probably somebody out there. There is somebody out there who you can always learn from.
Oh,
In
absolutely.
the same way now, I mean, I teach martial arts now, but I'm still learning and growing,
Yeah.
and I fell into that. And it was lucky. I worked at that martial arts complex for 8 years. My boss at the martial arts complex, during that time, I really got into how can I keep my body going? Because I was training all day long in multiple martial arts. And again, I was like, even when I got my black belt, I was still like low on the totem pole over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I remember it was looking back at it now, I just wish I could still do that. But I remember going to Osaka Castle, like real castle,
Yeah.
full on castle. Inside of the castle, well, not inside the castle, but next to the castle, there's a martial arts complex called Shudokan. And what it is, you have to be a black belt for the evening practices, but they've got half of the hall, it's just this big open hall. Half of it is for judo, and the other half is for kendo. And so you'll go in there on any given night throughout the week, and there will be hundreds of people in this hall training. You all start together. They have the big taiko, and
Yeah.
you dum,
Oh
dum,
man.
dum, 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 and that starts the practice. And then all that is though, and the reason you have to be a black belt to be there because it's all, I guess you'd say open mat.
Okay.
And so, I would go in there and literally just get my butt handed to me every single night. And it was great though. But like little things like that I just fell into, from whether somebody from the martial arts hall. I actually, when I was doing judo, really into judo, and I actually was on the civilian police judo team. So,
Oh man.
just it was just a group of, really good group of guys that get together, but we trained at the police station, which is
Yeah.
very common
Oh,
in
okay.
Japan. It's not like it's some special thing or something like that. It's, you go to the police station, chances are they're going to have a judo group. But
Really?
where I was just really cool because again, I just lucked out. And one, the instructor that was there again kind of took me under his wing. He gave a speech at my wedding. It was just like one of those things where it was just really neat because even though when I was over there in Japan doing martial arts, of course, I had my real work
Yeah.
that I was doing on the side. But coming back to that was again, my instructor, pardon me, my boss at the martial arts complex, understood that I had this desire to know more about the body and go deeper. And so this is actually when I went back and started studying more about the body, physiology, anatomy, and really got into movement practice and things like that. And so eventually, after those 8 years, my boss was like, hey, I want you to quit and just do your own thing. And he sponsored me. And I ended up starting my own company over there
Wow.
related to fitness and movement and things. And so with me, I've never been a big guy. So even when I competed in judo, I was more on the lighter
Okay.
side of things. So my thing was always, how well can I move and how strong can I be at that size?
Yeah.
Because I also did open weight.
Okay.
So I always competed at my weight, and then I went with the big boys,
Yeah.
which I probably shouldn't
That'd
have
be
been
fun.
doing. But part of it for me was, I was the only foreigner.
Yeah.
I wanted to be the first one on the mat and the last one off the mat
Wow.
because you always kind of have something to prove
Yeah,
when
you're
you're not a
representing.
part of that group.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I just got my butt kicked so much. But the thing of it is that I mean, not to blow my horn, but I got really good
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it opens up doors. Again, it was one of those things where you show respect, you show that you're going to do the work, then those people see that.
Yeah.
And the instructors, you know, hey, we have this on the weekend that you might be interested in. It's an invitation only thing. Are you interested? Never say no.
Right.
Of course you're going to say yeah.
Right.
And so, you know, and I don't know, I was doing judo, had my shoulder completely ripped out. And so I had to get slap tear, and I had to get surgery on that. So I made I just got married. And so my wife was like, listen, she's like, I need you healthy so you can work. You have a choice. You either stop competing or we're done. And I
Oh, wow,
chose
that's a
to
big
stop
choice.
competing. But I was 33 at the time, so I had been competing like a lot.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And so for me, it was a no-brainer. But it was really good, and that actually allowed me to get even deeper into Shorinji Kimpo. And so I was again fall into this stuff. My instructor at the time, Matsui Sensei for Shorinji Kimpo, 8th degree black belt in Shorinji Kimpo, was the technical advisor for all of Japan. So again, I just happened to meet this dude, and he was fabulous. He would come to my house every single week because my wife is an acupuncturist, and he would get, acupuncture, but it was really cool. And so I had the opportunity to learn and go deeper with him, worked up to, 3rd degree black belt in Shorinji Kimpo. And then this is how cool he was. He said, hey, there's going to be some big changes in Shorinji Kimpo. It's going to get really political. I think you should step away. And it wasn't like, he's like, I know how much you appreciate this, but this is the one thing that I really appreciated him tell me is that it should be more about the art and instead of like the political side of things.
Gotcha.
And he wanted to step away, but obviously he couldn't from where he was. But that was tough to do. But in hindsight, now I'm like, I really appreciate the fact that he did that. And that's actually when I started getting really into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Really?
And
Okay.
so, yeah. And so another funny thing too, I've kind of fell into who I was training with as well. And the group I'm still associated with, Akatsuki in Osaka, Japan, is the longest running group in Osaka in terms of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but they don't charge. And so this is the other thing, is that is always carried over for me as well. And this is maybe what a lot of people don't know about Japan. And this changed with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coming into Japan. But typically in Japan, you wouldn't really pay like you do here.
Really?
So for example, like with my group, Akatsuki, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu group, $15 a month.
Oh,
Judo was the same.
Wow.
Judo was the same. Shorinji Kimpo was 30,
oh my God.
And the thing of it is it's basically just mat fees.
Yeah.
So all the instructors in Japan, and I don't know if you knew this, but I think people should understand this. Teaching martial arts in Japan is not a profession. And so all of my judo instructors, we're talking top level, high level guys, kendo, all these guys, is volunteer. They don't get paid for that stuff.
Man.
They have a real job.
Yeah.
And then at night they go and they teach, right? Now, there are, of course, people, if they work at a martial arts complex or something like that, that's a little bit different. But what I'm saying is, like, for example, my judo instructor currently is one of the head, I forgot how you say it in English, organizes the events and stuff in Osaka and whatnot. He just retired from his job at a newspaper.
Wow.
So it wasn't like he's getting paid for like doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But this is another reason why when I came to the United States, and I teach my martial art, which is called the Jiu-Kai. And what this is it's a judo study group where we look at the old style of stuff where we have striking, and half of it, it's throwing, it's groundwork, submissions, and pins. It's all encompassed there.
Yeah.
I don't charge money.
Wow.
I don't charge for it.
Wow.
And this is me giving back. And so that was really like the true nature of judo, right?
Right.
It wasn't, how hardcore can we be and, rough and tumble and whatnot. It was, okay, you know, jita kyoe, which is mutual benefit, mutual respect and benefit. And how can we help each other to grow? And the reason that I look at it that way, because I just had that opportunity by being in Japan for so long, is that's what it was for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I got so much. So yeah, I could maybe start a business teaching martial arts, whatnot, similar to how they do over here. But when it becomes a business, I think that some things can be lost. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
saying that's bad at all. But I have a full curriculum. I make sure that I teach to my students and not just what I want to do. And this is
Okay.
actually something that
Yeah.
bothered me when I came over to the United States and saw a lot of different places where I remember going to places and they were like, all right, what do you guys want to do tonight?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh,
Curriculum, nothing.
like, and then it was like, hey, here's the technique. Let's do this for 5 or 10 minutes. And then we're just going to free spar for the remainder of the
Okay.
hour.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. If you want to do that, it's cool. But again, it was like, again, I had the opportunity to learn from these incredible instructors in Japan, not just in judo, Shorinji Kempo, Kendo, Iaido, um, you know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too was different because it was a group. It wasn't a school.
Okay.
There's no location. It's a group of guys that get together throughout the week at the martial art complexes located within the city in order to help each other to get better and focus on what they want to work on.
Yeah.
So like, for example, when I got my brown belt, so I got my brown belt in BJJ 3 years ago. And so my instructor was like, all right, working towards your black belt, all I want you to do is focus on taking all the stuff that you've had up until now, throw away everything that's not going to serve you,
Yeah.
focus on what is going to serve you,
Yeah.
but do it in a way where you can also help to teach that to other people and help them for what they want. So that's, especially at my age, so I'm 53 right now. I've done a lot of competition. I've gotten really hard during my life. I don't, to be honest, need that right now. Personally, like, I don't think, yeah, man, let's get on the mat.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like I go hard, but it's like, I also want to be able to wake up every single day and stay on the mat forever. And that's why I wrote my
Exactly.
book. And that's why it's called Stay on the Mat Forever.
Yeah.
So, and it's really looking at, okay, now I want to be able to do my judo, my jiukai, literally until I die. How can we do that? And so I know that each stage of a person's life, your 20s is different than your 30s, 30s, different from 40s and onward.
Yeah.
But I think there is a general framework, if you will, and it's all about the fundamentals. And all I'm getting at is that, unfortunately, I see a lot of the times here that there isn't a plan. It's kind of wing it. This is how it's always been done. Therefore, we're going to do it this way.
Yeah.
Instead of possibly looking at, okay, how can we help each other? Or I should say, how can I better help my students
Yeah.
for what they need, if that makes sense. And
It
again,
does.
I was just lucky because that's just what I felt and I saw with my instructors when I was in Japan. And I was lucky. There are a few instructors where I was just like, okay, screw this guy. I mean,
Yeah.
for real. Like,
I think we've all been into those guys.
yeah, right? You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Like, we had this one guy, like, my instructor at the judo place, he needed to take a break for a little bit. And this other instructor came in. He was a younger guy, he was just like, competition is life. And he would hold this stupid freaking shinai. It's like a bamboo sword
Oh,
from
yeah.
Kendo.
Yeah. I did Kendo for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. He wouldn't hit anybody with it, but he would like slam the floor and hit and he'd scream at you. And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, and the thing of it is like some of the guys in there were in their 30s and they were literally just there because they just enjoyed judo.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was so serious about competition is life, and if you lose, you're a loser.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was one of those things, and
Yeah, I've been
I
there.
think that's good. Depends on what's going
Yeah,
on.
what you
But
want to
like,
do. Okay.
yeah, man, you know. And like my son also gets that too because my son, even my daughter, they've been training with me like forever in Japan as well. My son wrestles right now, and there is that, need when you're young to understand to push and in Japanese they have a word gaman, which is to endure. And it basically means like just shut up and do the work,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was something else. My son, when he first came over here and went to wrestling practice, actually my daughter, when she went to wrestling practice, she mentioned this. She's like, Daddy, like I went to wrestling practice and the kids were complaining. And she just couldn't fathom that.
Yeah.
Because like, and I remember the coach called me up and it was the first week we were here and that my daughter was on the wrestling team. And he was like, I just want to call and see if your daughter's okay. I was like, well, what's going on?
Yeah.
What happened? He was like, well, she comes into practice and like, she doesn't say anything. She just smiles and she does the work and she just never complains. And then she leaves. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? I'm like, and he was just like, well, I know, her English isn't that great yet. And I was just hoping that I'm like, she's absolutely fine. This is how it is. And then the coach was like, oh my God. And he was like, do you have any more kids? I'm like, actually I do. And I was like, my son will be with you in 2 years.
That's awesome, man.
It's just really interesting to see that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to have fun, but I think that, we don't want to, I don't want to say waste, come into practice and you're like,
Yeah. Exactly.
that sort of thing. I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah. Mom
So that was
told me to
another reason why I
join.
did
Dad
that.
told me to
Yeah.
join. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, lots of stuff to unpack there, but basically, yeah, I went over to Japan for, I just loved it. This is martial art. That's just, my real job is GMB Fitness.
Yeah.
All I think about is the art of martial art.
Yeah.
It's just, that's all I think about.
See, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Listen, I was thinking of that when you're talking about being in Japan, and you said drinking out of a Japan. Is that a Japanese though, or is that just
no, this is
espresso?
my daughter. Yeah, it's espresso. My daughter made it for me. I got to get my caffeine
Oh
fix
God,
in
I
today.
know if it
so,
was the tea ceremony, No.
Oh no! Yeah.
But listen to that. You see that now. Training over in Japan compared to training here. What do you think? Was Japan more strict, more respectful, harder, or compared to here?
So the respect level is there, and the only reason why is this. It's not like, oh, it's so formal in Japan. No, it's the culture is that way. So
gotcha.
it's not just right,
Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of the Japanese people this, but then when they go into the dojo and start training, they're this way. No. That's just the way it is everywhere. You know what I mean? So it's that it's just a reflection of the culture within there. So little things like over here, it might sound silly, but like taking your shirt off at the gym, like in judo or, this just doesn't happen.
Right.
That's just disrespectful unless you're like conditioning or something's going on, things like that. But like little things like walking over a person's belt or walking over a person's, sword or like making sure that, at the beginning of class, you say hello to your instructor, you bow and say hello to your instructor. Like the bowing over here, you don't need to do. The thing is, that's a cultural thing in Japan, you know what I mean? That's been carried over.
Gotcha.
But I would say that depending on where you go, the training over here is harder simply for the fact that the majority of the men over here tend to be more, or at least they want to be more alpha.
Ah, gotcha.
If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that does.
Right?
Yeah.
So for example, like it depended where it was. So we had the competition team and then we just had the civilian team. Well, it's not civilian, but I guess you could just say, that's the wrong word. We had the competition team, and then we had the I hate the word
Okay,
hobbyist,
but I
okay,
get what you
but
mean, though. Yeah.
basically the people who weren't on the team who didn't want to compete,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Okay. It was pretty clear cut over there because it was like, okay, we're gearing up for competition. Comp guys go over here, everyone else over here. And so if you're on the competition team, it's gonna be a rough
Yeah.
practice.
Right.
Right? You're like, all right, you better pull on your big boy pants
Yeah.
because it's gonna get rough. That's the same anywhere
Yeah.
to me.
Okay.
But what I found is really interesting is the mentality of thinking that it needs to be balls to the wall 100% every time outside of the competition team
Yes.
over here.
Yeah.
And so you find that actually in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over in Japan, where it's just everybody's lumped together and it's exactly like it is over here.
Okay.
But in things, for example, like when you do Shoninji Kimpo, when I was doing other, like if you go into goodness, judo or whatever, basically like there is this differentiation where it's literally like, okay, I'm going to go at this intensity because this is where I am. And the other person going, okay, cool.
Gotcha.
And matching. So a great example would be when I would go twice a week to the castle. And again, it was the black belt practice. The thing is it's going to be tough because, they go in there and it's an open mat. But the thing of it is people will really feel each other out in the first minute to see where that person is wanting to go.
Yeah.
The other thing is this. I got to bring this up. This is really interesting to bring this up. And I haven't really talked about this before, but I just always thought this is absolutely just incredible. I remember I was a new black belt in judo. And I remember training on the mat. And you never know what rank that black belt is until they hit their, until they get their red and white belt, right?
Wow.
Then you're like, what's up. So it's not like BJJ where you've got stripes on your belt and you can see, oh, this is guy's a 2-stripe black or something like that. It's just like black belt until they're red and white, right? So the jump between first degree black belt and second degree black belt in judo in Japan is pretty high. The jump between second and third is much higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like when you get your black belt in Japan, it's like, okay, now we're serious about actually learning judo. That's what a black belt is in Japan. Okay. And literally the characters for black belt in Japan is shodan, which literally means first step.
Yep. Shodan. Yep.
Okay. Right. So I remember I just got my black belt and I'm like, yeah, I'm awesome. Whatever. Okay. You go to the mat and I remember thinking, yeah, I know some stuff. And I get on the mat with this guy and I'm just like, this is going to be easy. Well, first off, like I went like full on and he was just basically just, okay, cool. Shabam. I was like, oh no, he got me once. That's fine. I get up and I try it again. Shabam. And then he stopped and then he's like, do you want to train or do you want to mess around?
Ooh. Wow.
And I went, and I was like, I want to learn. And he's like, well, then let's learn. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
And this guy taught me more in that 5 minutes as a new black belt than I could have with any other, guy like going hard. And what it basically was that he taught me intensity based on the other person's intensity. And so what it was is he moved around a bit and he was giving me openings and playing and he was stuffing it, doing things. I was just like, oh, this is great. And I was learning. And then they hit the thing 1 minute and you got 1 minute left. And then he just boom, 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 threw me 3 just real quick.
Wow.
And then he was like, go. And then he just said, go. And then it was my turn to throw him. And that's all it was. The remainder of the time, literally, he let me throw him.
Wow.
Now the thing is I didn't really know this, but I wasn't seeing it until then. But when you typically work with a higher belt, especially in judo, they're there to help you get better.
Okay.
Now imagine in BJJ how that works. I haven't seen that
Not
much.
No.
Right? You go in there and you crush.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Which is fine. I do know some people who are very, different from that. But typically it's, I'm a black belt, you're whatever belt. You're never getting anything on me.
Yeah. It's the ego thing, I think it is. Yeah.
But in judo, man, it was crazy. Like I was on the mat with these amazing guys. And I knew from that day on, I was always nervous about going because I would like try and talk myself out because it's scary.
Yeah, I bet.
But from that day on, I was always just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I knew that if I got in there and I put in the time and I felt and I listened to what they were doing, that I was going to get better. And we both get better because they can work on their timing and do their thing. And to me, that's where I really learned Jita Kyoe, which is that mutual respect and benefit in judo.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to bring to my group. And so this is why, for example, lower belt, if a lower belt works with a higher belt, the higher belt is there to help that lower belt get better.
Yeah.
And so the higher belt will handicap themselves. And that also helps them to get better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're both benefiting from this thing. The lower belt gets in whatever they're doing and stuff like that. But the other reason for this is that you don't get injured.
Ah, man, that's good.
And that's huge.
That is massive.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Right there for me.
Yeah.
So
I know a lot of times, like guys now coming through ranks, and you see the injury is the battle wound, and it shows that you're really a fighter. And I never understood that, coming up through and you train and why, even when I was training as a young guy, on the mats, you come with busted up things because you were young and stupid, as I called it. We go balls to the wall, right? So you got your shoulder wrenched out, you're limping, got a little black eye going on, and you get out of class with the ice and the remember the iron palm you putting on there on your
Oh yes.
So you put that stuff on and you're like, I'm in there.
You're like, I'm good to go.
Yeah. But now I'm too old for that, man. So now I've learned in my old age to say no to rolling with certain people. You know what I mean? And no disrespect and no love lost. It's just, I think I want to get up tomorrow and do some things.
Exactly. Well, and it's funny you mentioned that, like coming back to the States, I went into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place. There's no real judo here,
Yeah.
And so, I went in and good group of guys and it was fun. But the thing is it was, for one, I walk in and I'm just like, hey, how you doing? I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you. And everybody thought I was a white belt because like, who's this guy? He's super chill. He's really nice, and everything like that.
The nice guy, we're gonna kill him.
Go in the back room, and I change, and I put my belt on, and things change.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, it's just like, wait a minute, and then it's like, is this guy for real? And then it just becomes like, we got to test this guy, And so it was just really interesting. Again, great group of guys. Good friends with them, and a lot of them now train with me here,
awesome.
Which is fun.
I love it.
But it is that thing where I totally agree with what you're saying. I'm now totally fine just saying no.
Yeah.
And I don't care what people think.
I don't care.
And I mean, you with your background too, you've seen a lot of stuff, dude. So
so
it's that longevity.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
And
now, is that what made you start?
I think we just want to keep doing it.
Did that make you start the on the mat forever? Concept. So explain that to me, because I don't want to read your whole mission. Simple. Your mission is simple. Your mission statement here. I love that whole thing, though, man. I'm going to read it because I think it's really cool. Anyway.
Okay. Cool,
on the mat forever. My mission is simple: help people overcome limitations and stay in the game on and off the mat for as long as they choose. I like that.
Yeah. And that's
like
a big word. As long as they choose.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be, I really truly believe it needs to be your decision. And just like we're talking, whether it be if you're rolling, you decide who you're going to roll with, you decide how you're going to train that day. And, I mentioned this actually in my book. There was a day when I, show up to practice and I asked my instructor, I'm like, how hard is the practice going to be today? He's like, it's however hard as you make it.
Yeah.
And
Ah,
And it wasn't a matter of physicality, it was the mental side of
yeah.
it. And so this is the big thing with me is even if something is hard physically, you get to choose how hard it is. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man.
You get to choose how hard it is mentally.
Hmm.
And so this is again like with my son, him wrestling I think is great because he had a really rough match, not match, but tournament last week. And he kind of broke down. But I let him know, I was like, hey man, it's like, that's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, absolutely.
That's always going to happen, dude. Like, it's just how you react to it. And so that's why, stay on the mat forever for me was a matter of it's got to be, you've got to look at the mental side of things and then say, all right, what are you going to do in order to make the situation a little bit better for you? And so that's why you get to choose. I really wrote it. It's kind of a story about me moving to the United States and my family and the struggles that we kind of had to go through, which, reverse culture shock is huge. Living in Japan for 28 years, I move over here and little things like trying to deal with the healthcare system here in the United States.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not going to talk like if it's bad or good
Oh, I get
or
what you're
whatever.
saying,
It just
though.
is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just is. Little things like we had a lot of things happen to us in the first month that we were here. And I was just like, what's going on? My wife, her English is not at a level where she could literally do anything in terms of, it's not like I was like, hey, honey, can you help me to call and schedule this
Yeah.
or do no, that ain't gonna happen,
Yeah.
right? And so it was all on me to do all of this stuff. She couldn't drive yet because that they didn't accept her certification in acupuncture, so she couldn't practice acupuncture like we thought, like little things like that. My kids in school, trying to learn English. But what it really was like, all right, you've got all these things going on, but it all comes back to your why. Why are you doing this thing? And if you have a strong enough why, all the other stuff, it just doesn't matter. And so this has really been about it for me. And that is, what's your why? Why are you really, really doing it? And then all you do is you look at, all right, in order to do the thing that I want, what is necessary? And if something is not necessary, don't freaking do it. Because I think a lot of us nowadays, we think we have to be doing all this stuff and we pile more on.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, if we bring it back to martial arts, how many techniques do you really need?
Good
You know what I
point.
mean?
Good point.
Like, and this is the other thing too, if we're talking about martial arts, where I can't tell a person that what they're doing is wrong if I don't know why they're doing the thing.
Okay. Philosophy
So
behind it.
let's say,
Yeah.
for example, George with Jukido.
Yeah.
Very self-defense oriented. Now, if you go in there and you look at George doing something, and you're like, dude, that's wrong. Okay, well, it might be wrong in terms of sport jujitsu.
Yeah. Yeah. I see where you're going.
Okay?
Yeah.
But the thing is why is he doing that? Okay, great. Then he chose to cut out the stuff that wasn't necessary.
Yes.
Likewise, if you do sport jujitsu, I'm not going to tell you that pulling guard is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's necessary in order to play your game on bottom.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So all I'm getting at is your why, as long as it's solid and you know what's going on
Yeah.
and you're following the things that are necessary for you, should be cool.
Yeah.
But the problem is we got everybody out there like, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's
Yeah.
wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. No, I'm the best, things like
Yep.
that. This is a lot of the things I was running up against when I came to the United States.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so this in the book is really like, all right, let's just focus on one thing each week. One thing. And it's the one thing is it could be well, there's always a question that I ask in here. what weight are you carrying? What mental weight are you carrying right now? And every day, Monday through Friday, I relate that question to a place in your life. Work, family, martial arts. Okay.
Wow.
But I bring everything back to three things: posture, breath, and mindset.
Okay.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so in martial arts, let's just be honest, okay? We want to keep our posture. And again, the posture is dependent upon where we are.
Right.
So if we're on our back, our posture is different,
Right.
right? But we need to keep our posture so that we have proper breath to put us into a positive mindset.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Now, what is our goal as a martial artist? Break their posture to take their breath
Yes.
and control their mindset.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So this is where this all came from. And so in the book, even though the book is not written for martial artists, it's
All encompassing.
about,
Yeah.
that's the structure. And so I just look at everything as posture, breath, and mindset. And that's how I teach my students as well. And it's like, if they do something and they're like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And I'm like, how's your posture?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. Or, are you holding your breath? Oh, yeah. Like you can, or you see them, they're like, oh my God, and they're freaking. What happens is they shrink down, their posture breaks, they hold their breath. I mean, it's all related. So that's why I'm constantly going, it's just a matter of trying to move a tiny bit to find a better posture so you can start to control your breath and your mindset to get you to where you can get back in the fight. And that's, for me, in life is exactly the same. And so that's all I was trying to do, because the first year being here in the United States, it felt like a fight. And I was like, you know what? I can't control any of that stuff, but what I can control is the way that I posture myself, regulate my breathing, and therefore my mindset according to that stuff, so I can continue to do the thing I want to do. That's really what that book is about.
Oh, man, I love that, man. Yeah, it goes back to martial arts, but it's where you came from. It's your whole history in the art, your whole living in Japan, and the philosophy and the mindset. You just put it in words. That's really neat, man.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of what I was at. And even in my work with GMB, that's really what we're looking at.
Yeah.
What is your why? Okay, great. Figure out what you need to do in order to help you to do that thing better. It's physical autonomy. You're in charge of that. So I can't tell you that, oh, this is the standard and you have to meet this standard. And if you don't meet this standard, you're a bad person. No.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's like, what do you need it for? Okay, cool. I can help you to get better at doing that thing.
Yeah.
And really, that's what GMB is about. And so, in the very beginning, you asked me, what does GMB stand for? And the very, very, very beginning, when we first started, was gold medal bodies. And it, again, wasn't like we wanted to create a body like
Stud muffin
a
out
Greek
there.
god. It wasn't like that. It wasn't that. It was like the Olympics, in order to get a gold medal, there's a lot of different events.
Yeah.
What body do you need in order to help you to go where you want to go? So
That's good, man.
it wasn't the best name for a company, but in the moment it was fun. So,
Man.
But yeah, man, that's all I'm trying to do is the older I get, the more I just want to be able to stay on the mat.
Yeah.
And, you got to let go of a lot of stuff. You know that.
Yeah,
You're the
man.
same,
That's phenomenal. You're doing that. You really are. That's
yeah.
Now with GMB Fitness, you're trying. Every day we're trying, brother. With GMB Fitness, what does it all encompass? Do you do nutrition for everyone there too? I mean, you have a plan for nutrition?
Don't do nutrition.
Okay, gotcha.
No, we don't focus on the nutrition.
Okay.
And we actually had a guy before he was doing that. But you know what? Nutrition, it's one of those things where it can get tough in the sense that everyone has their opinion on how it should be.
Yep.
And they'll base everything else upon that. And so the way we look at it is this: we're grown-ass adults. You can eat however you want, but just understand that how you eat is going to affect how you do everything.
Yeah.
It's up to you to figure that out. And so what we focus on, though, is really, I want to help you to move better. That's it. And so we're looking at strength, mobility, and control. And the control component is something that doesn't get talked about enough. But strength in this terms, we're looking at body weight strength. If you can't control your body first, if you load that later, it's not going to work out
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
The mobility is obvious, right? So you've got to have that good range of motion, but not just passively, but also actively. And that's what mobility is about, being able to get in and out of positions comfortably, but even more importantly, safely.
Yeah.
Then the final control is to have that strength and mobility. That's what helps, to be able to control positions. And
Okay.
so we're looking at locomotion. Um, our main program is elements, and it's just based around 4 movements: bear, monkey, frog, or crab. We've had this program for a very long time, constantly updating it. But really what it's about is navigating the ground in a way that's going to allow you to build the body, the foundations of the movements, strengthening the wrists, the shoulders, knees, hips, thoracic spine, to be able to have the capability to do things.
Yeah.
Because if we are able to do things, that's great, but do you have the capability to be able to put those into practice? And so we've got a lot of martial artists, obviously with our background. You mentioned the hostage rescue team, the FBI hostage rescue team. They reached out to me. I've worked with them twice now,
Wow.
and it's pretty funny. I get to work with some of the highest, incredible guys in the world, and I was just helping them move better. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, that's all I was doing, and it was a real honor to do that. But
Man, that's
I
awesome.
only bring that up because a lot of times we try to overcomplicate things, and just looking at, is this necessary? Again,
Okay.
coming back down to
Yeah.
that, like, is this really necessary? If it's not, then don't do it. But a lot of times we don't know what is necessary. So
Okay.
this is why we have our method
Yeah.
of assessing what you need in your body and then helping you to be able to work to do that.
That's cool, man. Now, is this what you can do online? You do all this online, or you meet people? You guys had
100%
you
online.
guys helped over almost 120,000 people worldwide doing this stuff. That's wow.
Yeah. And counting, so we've been around for quite a while now, and we've always been 100% online.
Yeah.
So we have our program that we created. I mean, people say app. It's not really an app because it works.
Yeah, yeah.
Computer, smartphone, like iPad, everything. It's called Praxis. Praxis means to practice.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why is because we don't work out. We practice movements.
Okay.
And that's what we do.
Yeah.
Working out is only one little part of what we're doing here. But in order to get good at what you want to do, you got to practice.
Yeah.
So, just like martial arts, and that's how we look at it. Both of my business partners, martial artists themselves. So that's really kind of where our background comes, but 100% online. And, we've got a good group of trainers, that also teach, just trying to have fun.
Yeah.
And keep going, man. Like anything,
Gotta keep moving, brother.
Yeah.
And I see this a lot, especially in the older people. They need that big time. And I'm sure you have a ton of those guys in there too. Some elderly, as I call, well, everybody's old,
Yeah.
but at that age. 'Cause I know when I had we had when I had my gym a few years back, a few years back, we just started doing a program with a nursing home teaching people how to fall.
Oh, wow.
Because
Dude, that's huge. Yeah, no, I hear you. My dad talks about that all the time.
exactly.
It's one of my top videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is how to fall.
That's cool,
And,
man. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I think like it is kind of crazy, especially, sorry, I'm going to bag a little bit on BJJ.
That's
It's
all right.
not everybody.
That's all right, brother.
It's not everybody. But sometimes I'm surprised that I'll go to a gym and they will not have worked throws. And so they're not really proficient in how to engage
fall.
the ground,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty interesting. And seeing guys like put their arms out and hurt their shoulder or their elbow when they get thrown because they don't know how to roll or something like that. So I think it's necessary, basically, is what I'm trying to say for
It really is. I mean, falling, it's helped me over my old age. I've fallen in the street before. I remember I was with the first time my daughter ever saw me do a live roll on the street. It was so funny. I was walking and this construction guy was sitting there in his car and we had parked close to it. And I was walking over to him. He was saying something to me. So I was walking over to him and I stepped down in a hole. I mean, just stepped down. And I was like, oh, and then, I went down and I just took the roll and I got up. Oh, yeah. And I'm at the guy's door of his car. He said, what was that? And my daughter's like, oh my God, Dad, that was the best thing ever. I was like,
That's a good dad moment
sure
right
it
there,
was.
right?
I lived
Yeah.
off of that, man.
Yeah. No, you got to. Yeah, that's good.
Old man can
Yeah.
still
But it
move.
happens. I mean, yeah, it happens,
Yeah.
And no, that's good. I love it.
Yeah, but I think falling
No,
is
but
so.
again, yeah, we're just trying to help.
I'm sorry,
And
go ahead. I cut
falling,
you off. I'm sorry.
falling. Oh, no. Yeah, just being able to fall, being able to engage the ground. And I mean, let's be honest, like continuing to be able to get down to the ground and back up.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I talk quite a bit about, a lot, but that is comparatively like to Asia and the United States. One, a lot of people don't sit on the ground much,
Yeah.
and so over here, at
Right.
least. And driving a lot more. That was a big thing with me. Driving a lot more when I was over here.
Yeah.
And I remember first coming over here and I felt tight. And I was like, what is going on? And then I realized like I'm sitting a lot, a lot more comparatively to when I was in Japan. So it's pretty interesting.
Now, how'd you guys
Yeah.
get around in Japan a lot? Was it just a public transportation? Were you guys standing
Public
a lot? You walk a
transportation.
lot everywhere?
Yep. Yeah. And we had a car, of course, but the thing of it is, we didn't use it a whole lot. Like, for example, every day we go grocery shopping. So this is another thing. Like now it's a little different in Japan. They got Costco and all that.
Yeah.
So you buy stuff in bulk.
Yeah.
But typically, like it would be like, okay, this is what we're going to be making today and tomorrow, and you just get enough for that. And so
Oh, okay.
we would walk to the store and carry it all home with us, or you ride your bicycle and load up your bicycle and stuff like that. So, the amount of walking, the amount that I rode my bicycle was just awesome, and without even thinking about it. But nowadays things have changed quite a bit in Japan, again, like I said, Costco and whatnot,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff in bulk is different, but typically like you would just walk a whole lot. And I remember my parents, they would always come and visit and they would eat more food in Japan, but lose weight.
I heard that about the other
Because-
countries like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. It's bonkers. The food is more nutritionally
Yeah, I can
dense.
see
to
that.
be
Yeah.
perfectly
Our food is
honest,
crap here, man.
And yeah, and that was something that we struggled with in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then also because you're just walking everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's I'm sure like if you're in maybe New York or somewhere,
Okay. Yeah. Probably
you
walking
can
everywhere. Yeah.
public, you're probably walking like that. But basically anywhere in Japan you are, except for like rural, really country areas. If you're in Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo, Nagoya, anywhere like that, you're going to be walking the buses, the trains, and everything is on time, man.
Really?
It
On
is
time. I
amazing.
love it.
Oh, it's great. I miss that.
So you
I
missed
miss
some of that. Everything's on time.
I miss that a lot, dude.
Oh,
Yeah. So-
man. Now, coming back here, what was your biggest shock? I know you named a couple of things, but what was your biggest, like, what is going on? The biggest shock.
Yeah, there are a couple things. The one thing for me is the way that people work.
Okay.
And what I mean by this is if you go into a shop in Japan, they're going to greet you and they're going to say, "How can I help you?" Don't see that over here.
Nope. Nope.
I remember going into a it was a sandwich shop over here, and the girl's on the phone. And it turned out she was talking to her boyfriend or somebody. But we waited, and we waited, and we waited.
Oh.
And I was like, screw this,
Yeah.
I'm done. And I walked out.
Yeah, I've been there.
And I was just like, what the heck? But yeah, that was a big thing.
Yeah.
But again, the other thing I mentioned before, like health insurance, that was just bonkers, dude.
It's
But
gotta
then
be.
the other thing, yeah, national health insurance in Japan, it was incredible. Say what you will, it was absolutely incredible. So I had two surgeries in Japan, my shoulder slap tear, and then I fell. Years later, I fell. My ankle broke to the side
Oh,
and spun completely behind.
holy cow.
So I had, yeah, it was a doozy. I had a plate, 7 screws on this side and 2 screws on the other side. I was in the hospital for 12 days, and my bill was $500.
Oh my gosh. Oh, oh my
And over
gosh.
here, man, over here, right? You just be like, And then I had exactly a year later, I had surgery to take everything out. Funny story, my surgeon was this lovely girl. She was younger than me. Lovely girl who was also, at the time, she was a brown belt in Brazilian
Oh
Jiu-Jitsu.
man.
And so, yeah. And so we got to talking, and I was like, hey, listen, I'm martial artist, blah, blah, blah. And she looked me up. She's like, oh, okay, we'll do I'd have an emergency surgery, the first one. And then she's like, a year later, we'll go and take it all out because I don't want you to be doing something and break it again because it'd be really bad. I
Yeah.
was like, okay. But anyway, yeah, a year later had that taken out, and that was easy procedure. I was only in the hospital for 3 days or something like that,
Yeah.
and hardly paid anything. So, but yeah, but coming back, the other thing that really surprised me, and this again is just, um, times change. That is that the school kids, not even school kids, but kids call the parents or the teachers by the first name.
Oh. Yeah, that
that
would never happen
to
with you.
me, I don't know. That's just because I'm old
yeah,
now.
that would never happen
maybe,
with
but
growing up, man. No way.
Dude, I would just get
Yeah,
smacked.
by the teacher and by the parents.
Right?
Oh,
And by a parent, right? Or the other
Or the
parent.
other parent.
Like nowadays you get sued for that, right?
Exactly.
I don't know. I know I'm getting old, but
Hey, that's okay.
little things like that, like respectful.
Yeah, it's gone.
In terms of that was just, yeah.
Yeah.
And not to say the kids are bad or anything. It's just
we look at our parents wrong. And I remember I called my mom Mary.
Shut
Right,
up!
exactly. I called my mom Mary once because I was mad at her, and she said something to me. I said, "Yeah, Mary," and that's her. Her name is Mary. And I said, "Yeah, Mary." Man, I don't even think I got the Y out, man. 'Cause it was like,
Yeah.
my dad smacks me in the back of the head and takes me down. Oh man, I get it, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, times have changed, and so that was just one thing where it's not like it bothers me.
Yeah.
I was just surprised.
It's something you
And,
notice. It's something you
other
notice.
little things, yeah. But the one thing, though, to be honest, the main thing I see here is the desire to want to be the alpha male.
Mm. Yeah,
Like,
it's big now.
very got to get as big as I can. I got to have as many tattoos as I can. Got to drive a huge truck. And again, no judgment.
Yeah.
That's you be
You
you.
do you.
That's totally cool.
Exactly. I love that. You do you, man.
It just surprised me to see all of that.
Yeah.
And how aggressive a lot of people can be over here, which is interesting because on the other side, everybody also, just like before, if you actually have a conversation with somebody, it tends to be really pleasant.
Yeah.
Unless you talk about politics, but
Then that's a whole other story.
then you're like, oh,
You might as well slap their mother, but that's what he's saying. You slap my mom. That's the same kind of mentality. They're fighting you for it, man.
But my wife will say, she'll definitely say the health thing, but she'll also say the amount of guns over here.
Oh, yeah.
Is bonkers because you just don't see that.
We
overseas,
love the 2A here,
what I mean?
baby.
Yeah, I tell you what. Here, let me show you this one, and I got one for every day.
Oh, exactly.
My friend, the friend actually has one for every day.
I'm
So
with
that's
him,
not a
man.
joke, Yeah.
Joe, if you saw my
This goes
collection,
with this outfit.
it goes with my heels.
Exactly. I'm like, all right.
Oh
So,
man, I gonna say
that was just kind of fun.
yeah.
So yeah.
But dude, but you see, we love our guns here in America, and I get it. I have a serious collection myself. I enjoy them. But that's the way I am. I'm like yourself. Your martial arts is about life and everything, and you incorporate it into your life. And I'm all about self defense, and so I use knives, I use guns, and all. Just like you.
Yeah, dude. I think it's important.
Yeah.
And sorry to interrupt you.
No.
This is the other thing too. Is when my kids came over here, take them out and make sure that they know how to handle weapons. That
Exactly.
is important for me.
Yes.
I'm not saying you should carry, but you got to know how to
Yeah.
handle, the stuff. That's really important for
Yeah.
me.
Big time.
Knives, but again, I remember taking my son out. It was really good because a guy that I trained with, he's got huge land out there, and he set up a range, and we went out there and blink, 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 blink. Like that's great. And I
Yeah.
think it's really important to be able to do that. And yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
So
See, I believe
nothing,
everybody should train with it, but I don't think everybody should carry them by any means. Because some guys, yeah, I think I don't believe in restricting our rights on it, but I do think there needs to be some training with these things. So everyone needs to be trained big time, man, big time on these things.
I got into an argument with the guy, one of my friends recently about that, and the reason why is because he's quite overweight and he can't move well. And so I said, "Hey, man, if you get into an altercation, what are you going to do?" He's like, "I don't have to worry. I carry a gun." I'm like, "Okay."
Yeah, no.
But if you can't move well, the first thing you're going to do is go for that gun,
Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
he's like, "What's the point of de-escalation? I got a gun." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
What's the
All
point
right.
of de-escalation?
Good luck with that, man.
What?
I was like, "Good luck with that, buddy."
Yeah, right?
Somebody's going to take that gun and beat the
Crap
crap
out
out
of you
of
with
you with
it.
that gun. Okay.
Without
Yeah,
pulling the
so-
trigger once. It is insane, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but that's the problem
No,
with
but I-
guys who
yeah.
take the gun and they use
Yeah.
it as it's an extension of me. This is my answer to everything. I'm a hammer and everything's a
Yeah.
nail. You know what I mean? No, no.
Yeah.
You can't live your life that way. No way, man. But that's crazy, man.
It was really fun when I got to work the hostage rescue team,
Yeah.
and they took me out shooting and stuff, and they talked a lot about that as well in terms of, obviously, I mean, they're just, what the way that they use and can use, and I should say don't use, which is even more important. To me, that was just amazing to be able to see that. And but like you said, training. I think training is very, very important.
Also, think about this: when we were younger, growing up, and you had a beef with somebody, what did you do? You fight, your hands, and then
Dude,
your friends later on.
Exactly, man.
And now,
Yeah.
the beef, it goes right to the weapon. It's like, man, dude, calm
It's
down.
crazy.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Dude, you pulled in front of me.
Yeah.
You're done. Like, holy crap.
No. And people ask her, my girlfriend asked me, Tony, she says you smile all the time. Why you smiling? I said, that's my way of de-escalating things before it gets out of hand. I start laughing right away and
Thank you.
make them think, what the hell? What's he laughing at?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Why is he so happy?
I love that. I love that, dude.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I think there is the other thing too. Let's just be honest. Like, as martial artists, let's just, not saying that we could take anybody, not saying that we're gonna be the best, but the thing of it is high level martial artists tend not to get into confrontations.
Exactly. Why? Yeah.
Right? Because they're just like, I'm good. Somebody's like, they call you something, and you're just like, okay, thanks. Have a good day, And yeah, but anyway, I could go on that forever.
I'm with you, man. We
but
think a lot, man. I think it's that old age in us, man. We think a lot on that.
maybe.
What's next for you guys out there?
Yeah, looking at GMB, really what we're doing right now is just trying to spread the love. Honestly, that's just really what it is. We're not trying to become some huge company or anything like that. We're really just what I just said, what is necessary for us to be able to help more people. And that's really what it is. I personally, for me in the business right now, I'm actually trying to get better at YouTube. And, the reason why is, again, I want to try and help more people, but I don't want it to become such a production that it keeps me from being able to be a good coach.
Gotcha.
or something like that.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
a lot of sense, yeah.
Instagram is the same. I don't want to hustle. I'm not about the hustle. But let's be honest, we need to get that out there. And so the reason I bring this up is whether it's, me working on my newsletter, my personal newsletter, or, GMB, my martial art, is what is necessary? How can I continue to do it well forever? And I think really that's just the thing. So in terms of doing things new, wouldn't say anything new necessary, except for the fact of just trying being a little bit better every day. And continue to do it. Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
That's cool,
So,
man. I just love your personality, man, and your attitude about life, man. You got, dude.
well, thank you. Yeah.
You just,
Thanks.
hey, I love it, man.
I'm pretty hardcore guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Where's my Shania? Man, brother, this has been awesome, man. Hey, before we get you out of
Thank
here,
you
man,
so much. Thank you.
give everybody all your contact. How can they reach you? How can they find your program, which I
Yeah.
think is one of the amazing programs out there, and where they can find your book
Thank you.
and how they
Thank you.
can connect with you guys, man.
Yeah. GMB.io. Like if you, or just type in GMB Fitness into anything and we'll pop up. And it's pretty easy. My face will be up there. So,
It's a good
you know,
face.
unlucky you. But yeah, but yeah, GMB Fitness. And then if you want to check out what I'm doing over Stay on the Mat Forever, is literally stayonthematforever.com. And there you go.
Man,
Yeah.
that's awesome, brother. Man, I tell you, you got me thinking about some things, man. I like that, man. Because every day I try to move a
Good.
little better, and you're saying spend more time on
Nice.
mobility. Brother, I appreciate you more than you know, my friend. Well, we got to get you back out here second time
Thank you.
when you guys change your name, as you said, you upgrade your name so we can find so we
Yes.
don't lose you out there.
Yeah. That'd be good. Yeah.
This,
Now, thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it,
hey,
man.
you're more than
Yeah.
welcome. Thanks for taking the time coming out here. We'll talk soon, my friend.
All right.
Lines on my face like cracks in the road. Still chasing fire through the years half slow. Weights on my back, sweating